Well, catching a big barramundi like this has got to be every fisherman's dream. And using these handy grips makes it heaps easier to lift them out of the water for that all-important happy snap to brag to your mates. But do these grips here actually damage the barramundi? Well, here at the Darwin Aquaculture Centre, scientists are trying to find out. The big question is, do the lip grips damage the barramundi's jaw? And does it affect the barra's chances of survival once they're released?
There's been some studies done with some fish with very small weak jaws, but as we all know, barramundi's a big bull-headed thing, a big strong jaw that feeds by opening this jaw. So it'll make a good comparison to this other study that's been done.
Ensuring the barramundi's survival is vital for the Northern Territory. The recreational fishing industry here is worth more than $30 million a year, and barra is their #1 species.
These are good fish, it's bigger than the last one, eh?
The catch and release is very important up here. We push the catch and release a lot in our education programs. And so we've targeted the barramundi especially to find out what sort of effects, if any, when the barra is released from being pulled out of the water with the fish grips. We just need to know that the fish is safe and unharmed when it's released back into the water.
The research team is studying 35 barramundi, all caught in Darwin Harbour about 8 weeks ago. The first step is to recreate the way the barra behaves when it's hooked, without a rod and reel. Well, we're not just chasing the barramundi for fun around here, we're actually supposed to simulate the stress that they'd be put under if they're on the end of a fishing line. And I've got to admit, I never thought I'd be chasing a 1 metre barramundi around with my feet. Once the fish is worn out, it's netted and lifted out of the water using various techniques, including the lip grips. It's a big fish. Each fish is x-rayed, photographed, then quickly returned to the tank, all in the space of a minute. Then they're monitored to make sure they survive and are feeding well. After a couple of days, the researchers take a closer look.
We've just put this barramundi into a tub of anaesthetic here. So in 3 or 4 minutes he'll go belly up and we'll be able to have a really good look at his jaw and see what damage we've done by using these fish grips.
Hard to peel a little bit.
Most of the barra recover quickly.
But that had started healing up to a certain extent, hadn't it?
Yeah. What we have found so far is using the devices at all in any way seems to put a small hole in the membrane just in the jaw there. So it's probably comparable to hooking a fish in that area anyway.
X-rays show some of the larger barra suffer some damage when they're lip gripped.
The main thing we're seeing is this spine is coming quite straight or almost bent backwards a bit. Compare that to a barramundi that's lying on the ground, you can see that spine's quite bent down, whereas when they're hanging up the spine's quite straight.
But it seems to be only temporary.
Immediately afterwards the spine came back to normal though.
All the fish lip gripped in this study are now healing well. And that's good news for this iconic species.
So far we've only got very preliminary results, but it is looking as if using these fish gripping devices is one of the kinder ways of handling fish. But we are saying if you're going to lift them up, also support them on the stomach, don't let all their weight go down on their jaw.
For more info on this great research done by Fisheries, head to the Fisheries Research and Development website.